Hello, in this video I'll be showing you how I farmed the required 3 million experience needed to develop St. Louis. So I'm going to go through my thought process and testing when deciding on what ships and fleet setup to use for my node clearing fleet. If you are just interested in what setup I use, then I'll have a timestamp in the description. The first few steps for me is deciding on how and where I want to farm. I found that it is a lot more enjoyable for me to farm faster but less oil efficient, so I'm going to aim for higher level chapters. For my situation, I don't have chapter 12 drops only ships, so I'm going to farm chapter 12-4 in hopes for choke high while farming for St. Louis. Next up is deciding on the fleet setup for my node clearing fleet. Ideally, I would want one main fleet ship with 3 vanguards, so I don't have to waste oil on extra main fleet ships. I suspect that Columbia skill, flagship protection, which reduces flagship damage by 25%, would work well in this situation. But with the many enemy planes in chapter 12, and only limited Eagle Union CLs and CAs, I don't think there's a flagship that could survive for at least 6 nodes. If you're planning on farming lower level chapters and have Columbia, I would give that a shot. So instead, I'm going to try a 2-3 setup with 1 battleship and healer ship, plus 3 Vanguard ships. Let's first take a look at all the Vanguard ships available. As of right now, there are 31 CLs or CAs to choose from, and from those I've selected the ones I felt that had the most useful skills. These include strong defensive skills, command skills, or any other fleet-wide buffs. From these ships, I'd like to find a good synergy. The New Orleans class ships have a good synergy with Astoria's support skill, which boosts their accuracy, anti-air, and firepower. They also come with some form of defensive skill, so this is an interesting synergy, but I think we can find something better. Another synergy I see is using the 2 self-healing ships, Minneapolis and Phoenix. These 2 ships can keep themselves alive against the large amounts of damage in the harder chapters. This combo could be complemented by a cruiser firepower command skill like Brooklyn, Northampton's, Wichita, and Richmond have. If I wasn't planning on using a healer in the main fleet, I would give this fleet setup a shot. Instead, I'm going to focus on my main fleet giving more damage so that they have a better chance to getting the MVP bonus, and let my main fleet worry about sustaining the Vanguard fleet. Here's the fleet setup I'm thinking about using. First off is Portland. Her defense order skill will help keep the entire fleet alive, and having her in the first position, she'll easily tank most of the incoming damage. I'll also be trying to get her as the MVP, so to do this I'll also be using Montpelier. She has her Legend of the Solomon skill, which will also help keep the Vanguard alive, as well as boost their firepower and accuracy. She also comes with the anti-air mode skill, which will be useful in chapter 12. Lastly, I've chosen Cleveland for her raid order skill, which boosts the whole fleet's damage, and she also comes with the anti-air mode skill as well. Next up is deciding on the main fleet ships that I want to use. Since there are no healers in the Vanguard, I think Akashi is my best option for a healer. As for the battleship, you could probably make any ship work in this situation, but I've narrowed down the list to a few that I think would work best for me. The largest challenge should be making it to where this ship doesn't steal MVP. So this is where the testing begins. I usually start with the ships that I think will do the most damage and work down from there. While doing this, I adjust any gear as needed. So after some tests in 12.4, I found that the non-barrage battleships are the easiest to get their damage output set to where I wanted. You can either not equip them with the main gun, or use a main gun with high spread and not enhanced. Battleships with barrages were a bit too RNG based and occasionally took the MVP. This was especially true the longer the battle went on, so it seems that higher level maps would tank your enemies using a battleship without a barrage, but a good skill is the way to go. But barrage battleships should still be considered if you need the damage to clear the chapters, or on lower level maps where the battle is quicker and they're unable to get off as many barrages. Here's the fleet setup I came up with to farm 12-4 and St. Louis. The Vanguard has defensive gear, while on the ship I want to get MVP has a mix of defensive and offensive. The battleship can either have no gun or a high spread gun, and then I'll adjust the auxiliary gear as needed. I didn't feel I had high enough level ships to also come up with a boss fleet in combination with this node clearing fleet. If you have enough to do so, then I would highly recommend it. The best advice I can give you for this is to build your fleet around Helena, because her radar scan does wonders in boss fights. So that's it for this guide. I tried out a new video format, so let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it or not. Also, I hope that this video helped out your farming in some way. I'm planning on doing a video for each of the PR ships, So next up will be Ibuki, and her video will be on screen now whenever it is finished. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.